Inktoberfest day 11. I can't believe we are rattling through so quickly. Well, today I wanted to talk to you about real brush pens. So I do have the Zig version, but I get a lot of emails asking me about the Arteza version. And here I have my little wooden containers. And in here, I keep my Arteza ones. So this is how I keep them. On the end, I've put a label with my P-touch with the number, and that corresponds to my swatch book. I'm not great at keeping with swatches, but that's a whole nother story. But the reason I did that was because they don't actually have a number on them. Maybe they've updated it since, but when I bought mine, they didn't have a number on them or a name or anything. So I was like, well, how do I work out what goes with what? So that's how I did it. So this is what my drawers look like inside. I have in the top here metallic pencils and some other metallic pens and stuff. And I keep my Prisma pencils in some of these, or my Crayola stuff in some of these. I love them because they all stack together. Anyway, going back to these, let's have a look what they are like. And today I'm going to be showing you some top tips with brush pens. You can use this with your Zigs, you can use this with the Arteza version. So if you grab out a couple of pens, I'm just going to grab a few random colors here. What you can do is I'm going to display one out here. So you see they're actually like a brush tip on the end. So what that means is when I start using them, they're really natural to use. So when we talked about the other day about practicing with your flicking, again, you can use all of those techniques. We can do really fun things. So we can make hearts. Whoops. Not on point today. Let me just bring this one back together. If you need to, you can resize this with a little bit of water, but you can just make some cute little hearts just by using the points of your brush, and you can make all sorts of other little cute things. But the other thing is you can then just pop some down, and you can add water to it, and you can then paint with it and make it lighter, or mix your own colors as well. So you can do those kinds of things as well. So if I had some purple here, I could take my Aqua brush, mix the two together, and have a more pinky kind of color as well. You can also put them onto your stamps and then stamp out with them as well if you want nice and quickly. So that's something else I really like about them. Or you can outline. So I can outline like this. And then if I wet up my water brush, come on, it's already has some purple on it, but what you can do is you can then start pulling that color out, or you can even put it down on a wet area. You see that, and you get a much softer effect. So it's like having a liquid watercolor, but you have a lot more control because you're painting with a real brush, but it also has a lot less ink in the end. You know, when we paint with those liquid watercolor pens, I always say to you to pop them on your glass mat, your easy clean mat, all of those kinds of things first, because they're really hard to work with because you get so much ink down in the first place. Whereas when you're working with real brush pens, you really don't have that effect. And I'm kind of not being fair on them here because I'm not working on watercolor paper. If you work on watercolor paper, you'll find they pull out a lot more evenly. The same with the Zigs as well. But the Zigs are super, super expensive, whereas you can get a set of the Artezas for a fraction of the price. And in my opinion, you do compromise a little bit on the ink, but nowhere near enough to go with the price difference. But this is one thing I really like, because what I can do is I can take a few shades of pink. I'm just going to take a couple of shades of pink here, and I'm going to make sure I have them ready to go. I'm going to put some water down first. So I'm just going to make sure this is wet, making sure I know where my water is. So I put my water down, and then I take my next shade, and you see how I can kind of put them against each other and colour into each other and back out again. You can kind of pull those colours through each other too. If I wanted to, I could pull some down. Could even go back in with my water brush. You can see how I can pull some of that colour back out and lighten it. So if you go in a little bit hot and heavy, You can go and take your water brush, you can lighten it back out, you can pull those colors back out again as well. Something else I really like with them, and I don't seem to have my green out. Let's open our green drawer here. So again, you can do your meadows. When we were talking about doing, you know, our nice flicks here, you get that really nice kind of brush effect. Again, really worth practicing your flicks. You see, if I do it on its side, I get a more kind of swishy flick. If I do it more upwards, I get a more consistent flick. I can do those hearts, and I haven't been practicing. Here we go. I can do a swish, and then I can do leaves coming off of it. Again, just by controlling my brush. So you can do all of those kinds of little things. And then you can also, I'm not going to do this because I'm not feeling quite as in control as I normally would be. But you can see there, I've got a nice leaf. One leaf for me always seems to work better than the other, but that's not bad. And then I could do a flower on the top as well, because you can use your nibs to do flowers, and I do teach you how to do that in the alcohol marker challenge. But you can see here how you can use those really nice brush nibs for that control, and they're dry but they're not too dry, and they're wet but they're not too wet. So there's some kinds of things that you can do with them. You can also take your water and, you know, you can tint them in a little bit. You see there how I'm adding a little bit of tint. It shouldn't really be pink, it should be dark green. But I could pick up some other colour and I could add tint to them as well. So if I'm saying it, it's 48 colours. This is some in the bottom here. Yeah, it's 48 colours in the larger pack that I purchased. And I purchased these. Arteza didn't send them to me. I've been really happy with them. I've probably had them now for about 18 months and I've been playing with them. And I use them in all sorts of different projects. As I say, top tip there is to add this little piece on the end. But you can do some really cool things. And I think if you are looking for something that does a lot for you, you can stamp with these. You can do all of these kind of little cute backgrounds. You can do some little art with them. You can paint with them. You can create backgrounds with them. You can use them on your little side mat as well. I think you'll get lots of kind of longevity out of them as well, and you can really kind of practice some of these that I kind of put into my little tag here. You can do all of those fun things, and of course you can build up all these other techniques that we've been doing here as part of Inktoberfest. You can practice colouring in the kind of more subtle effects. We did colour bursts, we practiced our penmanship, we've practiced with spray inks, we've practiced just general colouring. You could do this technique with these pens as well. We practiced some watercolour techniques. You could do that on here and then smush some really cool backgrounds too. You could do this technique where you painted and then pulled out some of the colour. This is the sparkle sprays from Tonic, and this was metallic watercolour that we played with, and this is tomorrow's tag because I filmed them out of sync, so you can see a sneak peek there as well. So you won't want to miss that. You'll want to make sure you've hit that subscribe button and of course hit like. And there'll be a giveaway today as well over on the Hedgehog blog. You can go and find out how to enter that and today's coupon as well, all those fun things. So go check those details out after the video. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I'm heading off to New Jersey to go and join Ranger in person for an alcohol ink colouring class. You can follow along on Instagram and Facebook for that one as well. We'll be going live, doing all those kinds of fun things. So join me for that as well. And of course, happy Inktoberfest. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, everyone.